Welcome to the Playback podcast presented by Car, your weekly podcast featuring America's favorite dancers, hosted by America's favorite road warriors. We are your hosts, Jocelyn and Kristyn, and today we are doing a full recap on the 2025 Hollywood Dance Experience. Let's get into it.
That was a wild week.
It's one of my favorite weeks. I'm like so sad I had to leave early.
It gets better and better every single year. Like I knew we do the Hollywood Dance Experience Parent Podcast Room every single summer, that it was going to get bigger and better. And that it did. We had our own LED wall.
It was show, you guys. We definitely elevated the production. Our faculty was phenomenal.
Oh my.
It was just such a good week. And so we're going to just kind of walk you through day by day who we got to chat with, what classes we got to watch, and just give you guys all the behind the scenes of Hollywood Dance Experience.
All right. So day 0 was our Sunday where we kind of set up the studios. We made sure it was looking show. We had some ice cream. We had churros too?
Yeah, they fire churros. Shout out to Dee. She's amazing. But yeah, they had churros. They had little ice creams for them. It was like a mini carnival inside Center Staging Studios.
Yeah, inside our little senior room, I believe it was. And we had like a ton of photo opportunities, everyone coming to check in, a little early check-in, mind you. And the dancers got to pick up their backpacks, kind of get a lay of the land a little bit from the outside looking in. That was sick. And then obviously a few of us went to dinner that night at the iconic Salsa and Beer, North Hollywood.
Best bean and cheese burritos you'll ever eat, you guys.
Like,
That's our
honestly,
tradition.
dare I say the best Mexican food of all of North Hollywood.
I think I agree.
It's so good.
I think I agree.
So if you haven't been, you have to go. Or come to Hollywood Dance Experience so then you can go.
So for those of you
That was totally not a part of Hollywood Dance Experience, but it is. You can make it a part of your Hollywood Dance Experience event.
Yes. So for those of you watching who maybe don't know what Hollywood Dance Experience is, so this is basically a week-long event for dancers and parents to come and learn the ins and outs of the industry. So our dancers are taking classes, and then our parents are in the workshop with us, and we're getting to podcast-style interview all these amazing faculty members. We didn't just bring in the choreographers. We also had some really cool guests that were more on the education side of dance, maybe people that have been in the industry for so many years that really want to impart their wisdom on parents to help them level up their dancers to becoming the next great dancers of Hollywood. So it's a very, very cool week. It's a jam-packed schedule.
So jam-packed.
But it's honestly the opportunity of a lifetime. I wish it existed when I was younger.
So we hold this event at Center Staging Studios in Burbank, California. And if you're a dancer who wants to pursue dance professionally in LA, this is the studio that you're going to get to be very familiar with. You'll audition for commercials, tours, live performances, maybe is flash mob performance. You're going to be auditioning for those in these studios at Center Staging, as well as rehearsing in these studios for your world tours and your commercials. You name it, you're going to get pretty familiar with these studios. So the fact that we can provide an event at these studios prior to you entering Hollywood to become that professional dancer, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, let's broadcast to day 1.
Let's do it.
We had some fabulous people join us in our podcast room. The first one being Kennis, who taught the kids like a street jazz style kind of groovy class. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, he was fabulous in our podcast room. I really loved him.
I really enjoyed talking to him. He kicked off our whole morning, and he was just such like a bright light. I could tell just from the moment he like walked into the studio. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good interview. I loved him sharing the sides of him growing up in the industry.
Yes.
I thought that was really interesting. He talked about, his different relationships with different choreographers and how a lot of them were coming up at the same time and kind of what that looks like. Because I think obviously a lot of the dancers that are coming to Hollywood Dance Experience are competitive dancers, which means a lot of times they're competing solos against their friends and maybe going up for auditions or different opportunities against the same person. So I think it's just very interesting to hear how to navigate that, not just as a dancer, but as a parent of like, hey, my child's getting really discouraged because maybe they had this opportunity kind of dangling in front of them and then it got ripped away. Like, how do I keep their passion alive with every no that they hear? And so he was really interesting to hear kind of his perspective on all of that.
I think my favorite part of him chatting with us was that he got to dance with Gaga recently. And he was like, she is so not my style. So he was like, I sat there and I watched all of her videos. I went into class from her choreographers. I did all of my research and I came dressed like how a Gaga dancer would dance and dress. And he was like, it was so out of my comfort zone. He was like, but Gaga called, so I had to do it, you know? And it's just cool because you might be a contemporary dancer at your studio, but in LA, in Hollywood, you have to be able to do everything. So really honing in and doing your research is very important. So if you know you're going to a Gaga audition, you best believe you got to do your research on what Gaga is expecting, because it's going to be totally different when you enter that room. You're not doing 7 pirouettes.
And I love that he's continuing to learn. Like, someone of his success could be like, I'm good. I know what I'm good at. I'm going to stick to that. But the fact that he's still pushing himself to kind of learn and evolve, I think that's what makes an amazing artist.
Yeah, I really loved him, and the kids loved him too. So it was a great day with him. The next person we had on our podcast was Ryan Ramirez.
Love. Wait, a little backstory for you guys, because this is kind of funny. So Ryan Ramirez, you guys know her from So You Think You Can Dance. She's done so many amazing things. But what's funny is we have Ryan Alvarez, who's in charge of our protégé program. So the whole week, all the kids were like, who's Ryan? Which one's Ryan? And so
they
it
were
was
confused.
so funny, which it's hilarious because they're complete golden retriever and black cat energy. Like, could not be more different. So it was just funny that all the kids were getting them in a little confused. But yes, Ryan Ramirez, absolutely loved having her.
She's so sweet.
Yes, I feel like it was cool to hear kind of the connections. I didn't know that she grew up dancing at Lana's Dance Studio up in Northern California, which is one of our huge clients. They're a DAC Hope studio. Like, we've known Lana's Dance Studio for years. So to hear that's where she kind of got her start was really cool. And then, just kind of hearing how she's been able to continue, whether it's going on a tour or whether it's booking more film, like TV stuff. I think it's really interesting to hear from a dancer who you know from So You Think You Can Dance, kind of hear about their career after the fact.
Yes. Because she was on So You Think You Can Dance kind of during the prime of So You Think You Can
100%.
Dance. So it's cool to hear that story and that vibe of what it used to be compared to what it's evolved to now. Our next speaker was Chloe Arnold, and oh my gosh. Okay, I have to say that my favorite story from her was how she stalked her mentor.
Debbie.
Yep, so that she could become her mentor forever. How she basically stalked her into getting that job
No,
too.
it's incredible.
Oh my
Where there's a will,
gosh.
there's a way. And honestly, that's kind of where it comes down to. You can be the most talented person. You can be someone who maybe has the total package, but if you don't have that drive to figure it out for yourself, you're not going to make it. And she's just the perfect example of that. Like, she opened doors that weren't even there to open. And she's like, oh, there's not an opportunity for this. Let me create one.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I took away from it is if someone's telling you no, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yep.
And also create opportunities for yourself. Don't wait for someone to give you permission for an opportunity. Just go out there and find a way to do it. So she was amazing. I feel like there was so many parents who really were excited to hear from her.
Yes.
I think a lot of really tap heavy dancers were at Hollywood Dance Experience this year. So I think just hearing, number one, from her, who is such a powerful tap presence, but then also her mentorship. It's very cool to hear kind of how she's impacting that next generation of dancers. Obviously, you guys know her from Syncopated Ladies, and just to kind of hear how she's been able to create that sisterhood throughout the tap community.
Her and
is
her
so
sister
beautiful.
together.
That's what I'm saying. It's very cool. It's very special.
Strong, powerful tap women.
Yes.
Uniting.
Yes.
I love it so much.
Yeah. No, she was phenomenal. Would love to work with her again.
Oh, absolutely. I just want to sit and chat with her about life. I feel like she was talking about her vision boards, how she gets all of her girls together and they have a serious vision board night. And they really hone in on it's not just cutting pictures out of a magazine and putting it down on the vision board. It's why do you want this?
Right.
How are you going to achieve it? What are the steps that you're going to take? Awesome.
Yeah.
I need to create a vision board like that.
Yeah, it's cool hearing how she had Debbie Reynolds as her mentor to really push her, and now she's taking on that role for so many young girls. Yeah, I loved her. She was very fun, but also a boss.
Yeah. Super boss.
Yeah.
Our next guest we had was the one and the only Dr. Jerry. And we kind of gave him the stage for this one because he has a whole hour-long presentation. He knows his stuff. And apparently right now he's booked and he's busy after
I believe
HDE.
it. I believe it. I think it's really cool to hear from a doctor's perspective on how to take care of your body. Obviously, as dancers, we say that our bodies are instrument, and especially these kids that are at HDE, they're taking their training very seriously. And a lot of that comes with no days off mentality.
None.
And Dr. Jerry's really good at kind of bringing everyone back down to earth for a little bit and being like, hey, so it's actually not great if you do a scorpion every single day. Like, and as dancers, we're like, well, what do you mean? I need to rehearse. I need to practice. Right. And that's where he's really teaching parents to let their dancers listen to their bodies, to take that rest time. If you feel like something's happening in your shoulder, like, it's okay to dance through the pain to a certain degree, but also keep in mind you might be hurting something in the long run. So he just is really good at breaking it down into like terms that us as dancers would understand, but mainly the parents. Because a lot of the parents are like, well, my kid, you know, wakes up for competition and gets really nervous. And so they don't want to eat all day because they're so nervous. They don't want to go on stage before they eat. And as dancers, we need to remember that food is fuel, and you need to be providing yourself with that nutrition, that protein, carb loading the night before. So he really puts it into his perspective that I think is very digestible for a lot of people.
And he comes from a background of his son's doing sports, like baseball and stuff. So dancers, they're athletes. So it comes from the same brand. So him learning how to fuel his sons and make sure that they're held accountable for themselves when it comes to nutrition and taking care of their bodies, to a dancer's perspective of that is so cool. I love it. And I feel like the parents eat that up. They're like, oh, tell me more. Tell me more about my IT band and how I need to stretch it out for my dancer. And it's so cool. And then during Dr. Jerry's class, he was taken over. He was doing his presentation. I got to step into the senior room where Alex Chung, who was our next speaker, was teaching. And that combo was fire. And they ended up performing it. He had his company there, and they performed that part of the routine on stage at our City Walk performance the next day. Oh my gosh, the kids were eating it up. Like every single kid in that senior room. I was like, I can't even tell like what's going on right now. Is this an audition? Is this an industry class? Because it does seem like all of these dancers are in the industry right now. Like it was so cool. And so obviously we had to have Alex Chung on our podcast next. He's so cool. He's from Canada.
He's super cool and laid back. It's very funny to meet people who, you know, have this big reputation, and then they come in and they're just so chill. And it's like, okay, so when you get into the studio, that's when like the creative mastermind comes out to play. It's very clear how smart he is. And I loved just hearing a little bit of kind of how he got into the industry. His career is very cool, and I think just the whole Canadian thing makes it even cooler, to be honest, because I think a lot of our kids have heard the stories from the U.S. choreographers and things like that of, oh, and then I signed to this agent, oh, and then I did this, and then I moved to this city. But his was very different. He had a whole company in Canada, so it was
and
just,
a studio.
It was interesting to hear, because I think we forget that he had this whole life in Canada before he came here. Very cool
guy. And then our last speaker for day one was Hannah Douglas. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I used to audition next to Hannah Douglas in these crazy auditions all of the time. And then she was just gone because she was just casually touring with Beyonce. She's been touring with Beyonce, working for Beyonce for so many years. So it was cool that she had some time off, you know, to come and sit in our chairs and chat with us about her life. And she came, you know, she was one of those back right, back left corner dancers, even in the audition rooms, and still booked Beyonce. You guys, that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, she's stunning.
Ridiculous.
But what's cool is to hear about her transition since kind of stepping away from performing on stage. And now she's really helping with the rehearsals and setting the tour and getting to like
the technical
be on
aspects.
that side of things. And she said she's really enjoying it. So I just think it's cool. Like, even if you're a dancer and you're like, hey, maybe I want to settle down and start a family, or I think my body's just done doing tours, there's always those opportunities for you to still be involved in that creative process, maybe just kind of behind the scenes. So it was just cool kind of hearing that, because you think of her and you're like, oh, she's Beyonce's dancer. Like, obviously.
Like, duh.
But her getting to kind of pick out that next tour of dancers and getting to really help them
creatively put together this tour is awesome, and get to be on the other side of things where you feel like you're still involved in the artistic side of things.
Yep.
It's kind of like being a dancer, a competitive dancer growing up, and then maybe your body just can't do it anymore and you still want to be a part of dance, and then you work for Car Productions. Hey. Hey.
It's a smooth transition.
It
but
really is.
It's cool. And it makes you really appreciate the experience that you're cultivating for those dancers. So I'm sure, like, from her brain, she knows what it's like to be on tour, exhausted as a dancer. She knows what it's like to have to perform from walking all the way on this side of the stage to all the way on this side of the stage.
It's crazy.
So I feel like all that experience really helps her just even be that much better at her job. So
yeah,
it's very cool.
My favorite part was her talking about like her sister. Her sister is also touring with Taylor Swift, Casual, just the two biggest superstars happening in music right now. She just toured with her for like, what? It was like 3-4 years.
It was a long tour.
It was so long. And she said that she went to like one of the nights of Taylor's tour and she was so excited for her sister. And her sister was like, did you notice that this, and this happened? And she was like, I had no clue. And she was like, well, yeah, all of this went wrong. And she was like, yeah, you would have had no idea. It was great. You did a great job.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show there's so much happening behind the scenes that you don't even know about, that the dancers are stressed about, but you couldn't even tell because they're smiling on stage.
Yeah, 100%.
Ooh. So that closed out our day one. So after day one of all of the classes and the parent podcasts, our dancers went into rehearsals because the next day we have a show at City Walk on the stage. So there were 2 separate rehearsals happening at the same time. So we have our dancers that won scholarships to attend HDE that signed up. They had their own performance at City Walk. And then we also had our aspiring elite protégés auditioning and rehearsing for their performance spot at City Walk. They rehearsed for about 3 hours, and I don't know how these choreographers do it, and these dancers just eat it up. They're like little sponges in the room.
Yep.
And then by the end of the night, their performances were locked in, loaded, ready for City Walk, and I was just sitting there like, wow, we really all came together in one day and just made it happen. It was sick. So we closed out that day, and then we moved on to day 2 where we had a couple more fabulous speakers before we headed to City Walk. So we started out with Miss Belinda Gallegos.
She's amazing. She's someone who's not a dancer. She comes from a family therapist side of things, and she really works with mental health. She's actually technically our therapist here at Car Productions, so any staff can reach out to her if they want to talk about anything. But she really talked about how parents can talk to their kids and kind of start those conversations, the difficult conversations, and just kind of helping to be that guiding light in an industry that can be really hard. And so she was just kind of talking about like how to talk to your dancers about body image, or talk to your dancers about, you know, failure versus success, right? Because I think as dancers, so many times if a door gets closed or if you hear a no, you're like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm never going to make it in this world. Yeah. Like you just get so down on yourself. And she really is teaching parents the tools to be able to be like, nope, this is how you handle a situation like that.
Yep.
If your kid is burnt out, because so many kids do get burnt out, like this is how to handle that situation. This is how to have those conversations. So I think it's
open the floor to have those conversations, because sometimes like I grew up very shy, so maybe I wouldn't openly voice like how I'm feeling. So she really taught our parents like how to open up that conversation and make your kids feel comfortable to be like, hey, so like actually I'm dealing with this. I don't really like how this looks or something, so that they could work through it together. Like maybe the moms look at themselves in the mirror and be like, oh, I don't know if I like this. So then opening up that conversation with the kids, like, yeah, you might not like this about your body. I don't like this about mine. So let's work on how we can start to love that part of ourselves. And I loved that part of the conversation. I just felt like it's so true to this day and age.
It's important. And I think too, kids copy, right? So it's not do as I say, it's do as I do for the most part. And so when kids, and we don't even realize that we're doing it, or kids don't even realize that they're picking up on it until they're kind of repeating those patterns. So it's just interesting to like actually have this space to talk about that. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times like the dance industry is just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. No times for that. Like, in the words of Abby Lee Miller, save your tears for your pillow. And I think it's important. Like, it's okay to have those emotions. It's okay when you're striving to achieve your dreams. If you get knocked down, like, get back up again. But at least acknowledge, you know, the growth that you're seeing in yourself. So it was very cool, very inspiring, and very important.
And then our next speaker we had come from USC, which Jocelyn got to interview.
Yes, so that was Jackie Kopsak. She's the USC Assistant Dean. So basically, she helped start the Gloria Kaufman School of Dance program.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
That's awesome.
And the way that she was talking about it, I mean, I think in our eyes, we're like, oh, yeah, it's the Kaufman program. Like, everyone knows that. And it's, I think, just been so strong for so long, but really it hasn't been around for that long. Yeah. So it was just interesting kind of hearing about how that program has changed, what it offers to students. It's a very rigorous program, and you have amazing opportunities that come out of it. She told me that she was just in Paris, and that there's a lot of like UK and American kind of back and forth when it comes to the USC Kaufman program, because they really do love learning about the different styles and the different techniques that are being taught in France or in Berlin or wherever she was saying. So it was just interesting to hear they had that opportunity. But I think a lot of our parents come to this workshop wondering, do I have to send my kids to college? Or do I let them immediately at 18 sign to an agent, move out to LA and do that? And she really did have, I think, a great insight on what those two different paths can look like. What she really said was, if you choose to, not just USC, but if you choose to do any dance program at a college, you have a support system. And that's not something that you have when you move out to LA by yourself from Oklahoma. Yep. So it's just keeping in mind that, like, yes, you might feel like you're behind or you're late, but you're 21 and you're in like your prime when you graduate, and you have all of this experience and all of this knowledge that you wouldn't have if you didn't attend a 4-year university and have all of these amazing professors and teachers pouring into you, and then having that camaraderie with your fellow students as well. So it was just very interesting to kind of hear more about the USC program as a whole, and kind of like their hopes of where they hope it goes. They're definitely one of the top in the country. So 1000%. If you're someone who gets really good grades, that's another thing too, is I think a lot of dancers get so focused on dance is my path. I don't need to worry about school. I don't need to worry about grades. And that's not necessarily true. Regardless of your grades that you're achieving, if you're working and you're doing that homework, you're building a work ethic, and that's going to transfer on and off the stage. So yeah, it was just very interesting, and I really hope to like work with her again soon. She was amazing.
That's good. Okay, so after we finished our class day, which really was rehearsals.
Well, we're missing 2 more.
Really?
Yeah, you skipped over some.
I did?
We're going to jump into Cole LaRue from Slips Ballet Shoes for Kids. So she is actually a past dancer who was teaching dance in Santa Monica to a bunch of littles, and consistently had to stop class to tie their shoes or fix their ballet slippers. And so she's like, there must be number one, a fun color selection, but number two, a better way to keep these kids' shoes on. So there wasn't one. So she ended up creating this whole company, and they're the cutest little slippers. They're hoping to kind of really expand and maybe look into other types of shoes, not just ballet. But it was just interesting. And I think, again, this is the perfect example for not just parents, but for dancers to see, okay, so even if I dedicate my whole life to dance, it's possible to start a business or to kind of make that career switch. And obviously it feels risky, it feels scary, but she's doing phenomenal. And that, I think, is just another reminder of you can put your dance experience into a career, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you on a stage dancing. So that was really interesting too.
They're so cute, the little slippers, and they come in all different colors. So if you don't want ballet pink and you want hot pink, or you want purple or red or blue, she has those options available.
Yeah,
They're
super
so
cool.
cute.
And then the last interview we have to talk about is Liz Imperio. If you know her, you love her. I was really excited to do this interview. She's worked with DAC for so many years, and she's just iconic as a choreographer. But why she was there was to talk about her new book that she just released. It's called Parenting Their Passion, and we're actually going to do a giveaway for you guys. So if you comment down below a speaker that you would like to see at our event next year, comment that down below, and we have some of her books that we're going to send out to you as parents. It's an amazing way to connect with your child and to understand their passion for dance. I think a lot of dance parents, if you grew up a dancer, you understand. You immediately have that connection of, I loved this so much when I was growing up, now we share this together. And a lot of parents don't have that. They grew up playing a different sport or not being involved in the arts at all. So I think just number one, helping them understand the passion and the fire that is within their kids that do love dance, and then how to help cultivate that and support them throughout their journey, but also keeping yourself in check as a parent as well. It was amazing to hear. I saw so many parents in tears, and I think they just felt really seen. I think as a parent, sometimes the focus is all on the dancer, and people forget how many sacrifices these parents are making, how much work, how many late nights, how many early mornings that they're putting in to support their child. And I think Liz really saw that, and the parents felt it, and it was just a beautiful way to end the day.
Everyone was crying.
So yeah, if you guys want to get a copy of Liz Imperio's book, Parenting Their Passion, comment down below a speaker, a choreographer. It can be someone from the educational world, an agent maybe, anyone that you guys would like to see at Hollywood Dance Experience next year. Comment that down below, and we'll send you guys a book.
Okay, so after that, we went over to City Walk, Universal City Walk in Hollywood to be precise, and the dancers had a couple scheduled lunches over at Margaritaville. It was so fun. It was all decked out for Hollywood Dance Experience. We had our logo on all the TVs in there. It was so cute. The cookies were fabulous. I love them. I went back for a second one. Had to. It was very important. And then the dancers met at the City Walk stage to do a little tech rehearsal where they kind of got the behind the scenes of what it's like in LA to hurry up and wait. Because it's a lot on set of hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. Okay, get on stage. Oh, actually, we have to wait a little bit because lighting or sound or something. So I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
And then we ran our tech rehearsal for our show. Our show started right at 6 p.m. It was wild. The crowd was wild.
I had to leave. Unfortunately, I had another event to get to, and I was literally watching the live stream.
She was.
Like a fangirl. It was so cool to see. And shout out to our hosts, Christiane Lopez and Will Simmons.
Yes.
You guys did great.
So good.
And
naturals.
Yes, just kept the energy going. It was very fun. And again, I think it's just cool for these, not just the parents, but for these dancers to really experience what that looks like. Because I think a lot of them are used to a competition. They're used to a recital. They're not used to a live show with random people just walking by and they're like, oh, what's this? And then you're just up there and you're performing, and it's like you are a Disney character, but like you're yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to give them that opportunity.
It was such a cool event. I saw people stopping and watching at the very beginning of the show until the very end, and they were cheering at the end. Like, again, like go again.
Yes.
It was sick.
We also had some guest performances as well.
Yep.
So we had a couple groups from Guy Groove's gang that he has. They had the minis. They had like kind of the older kids that came in.
Yes.
We also had George Lawrence perform.
Mm-hmm.
We had Presley sing.
We had Madeline Underwood and Easton do a duet. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful. Choreographed by Lonnie, one of our protege leads.
We had Ryan Vittel, who's
the tap and
violin guy. I'm telling you, it was like a variety show. It was so cool. And I think, again, it's really special for our dancers to get to share a stage with names that they look up to.
Yep.
I think it's like, it puts it in their head that like anything is possible. And it was just so cool. It's very like, as a past convention kid, it's very cool to see what conventions have kind of evolved to and the opportunities that these kids are getting out of these experiences. They're definitely core memories, 100%. Like I was seeing like even the small or slow moments of kids just getting to hang.
It was cool.
That camaraderie is what it's all about. And just like building that community, building that family dynamic. And I guarantee you, a lot of these kids are going to end up in audition rooms against each other.
1000%.
And they're going to walk into center staging where all the other audition kids are walking in like scared, like they're so nervous. And our kids are going to walk in being like, I know this place. This is where I come every year for HDE. I feel at home. I feel confident. I'm ready to slay this audition. And that's what it's all about.
It's true. And during our City Walk performance, we had a very special DAC moment.
Yes. So you guys know Brielle's viral dance that we've been doing, and we just wanted to kind of elevate it even more. So Christy and Will taught everyone at City Walk the APT dance, and it was just so cool. And Brielle got to watch, and she felt so special and seen. And again, it's just like bringing smiles, bringing joy, and using our gifts for good.
Amen. So safe to say the show went incredible. Dancers were feeling this like high of like, wow, the adrenaline rush of getting on stage. We had some solo performers. It was awesome. But we still have one more day of dancing to go and a gala. So we woke up on day 3 ready to rock and roll. We had fabulous speakers on our stage. So the first ones that we had were Lacey and Benji Schwimmer. And we had Lacey last summer.
Love Lacey.
She's awesome, full of energy, full of life, and just ready to tell you about everything, which we love. And then we pair her with her brother, and it is like a comedy show for free, basically. They were fantastic. Obviously, Benji won So You Think You Can Dance, and that was, I would say, top tier So You Think You Can Dance.
No, 100%. That season, we were all
incredible.
Locked in.
So You Think You Can Dance is absolutely everything. It was the old stage, you know, with the stairs leading up where people could stand on the. I wanted to be in that audience so bad.
Yeah.
But too young, you know. I wasn't in California yet. Like, it just didn't make sense. But he was in the prime of So You Think You Can Dance, dare I say. And them talking about growing up at their parents' studio and starting off their dance career with ballroom and learning all the different styles, going into the competitive world of ballroom. That whole world of competition is wild.
It's so interesting. It's literally a whole different world. And I think when people think dance, especially non-dancers, they're like, oh, Dancing with the Stars. Like, yeah, ballroom or So You Think You Can Dance. I'm like, no. The styles alone are so different. And I think it's evident when you see our dancers who are typically lyrical jazz, hip hop, contemporary kids, and they get a pair of ballroom shoes on and they're like, whoa, what's happening? And again, it's just like we're providing them the opportunity to get that training so young that
so
like
cool.
I never took a ballroom class. That wasn't even a thing when I was growing up.
It wasn't even a provided class.
Right.
At
It
the
was
studio.
either you were a ballroom dancer and that was your whole life, or you were like a comp convention kid. And they didn't really overlap. And I think like shout out to Dancing with the Stars. I think like having Val, Jenna, all of these Dancing with the Stars pros on conventions and
It's
seeing them
opening everyone's eyes to more.
Yep.
What if they see and take a ballroom class where they're like, yeah, no, I actually want to do that. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, we had Jenna and Val teach at that So You Think You Can Dance DAC
Yes,
collaboration
that was
class
so
that we did this
cool.
last year. And so many of the kids, that was their first time taking ballroom, and they went out and they bought the ballroom shoes just so they could take class with Val and Jenna. And,
I would buy the ballroom
now
shoes too
they're
if I was
doing
taking their
privates
class.
ballroom,
Yes.
and like they're really, really pushing that side of themselves as dancers. So
Yeah.
it's just cool to see. We love it.
Yeah, it was
Well-rounded dancers.
It was so cool to talk to Lacey and Benji. And then obviously Lacey has her ballroom touring convention through another convention, and the kids were eating that up. She gave out so many scholarships just to our dancers attending HDE.
Love that.
It was so cool to see them walking out of the class just like on such a high of like, oh my gosh, I got a scholarship. And that was my first ballroom class ever. Like they taught a swing class to the kids. So they got to partner up and they got to dance together. It was so cool. I got to like peek in for like a moment. But then I had to run back because our next guest, top 5 coolest moments of my life, I have to say. Stacy and Travis, Michael Jackson. You heard of them? Yeah, they creative directed, choreographed for Michael Jackson for so many years. And just their story alone was so cool. I was sitting there like, if you look back at the footage from that interview, I think I was just like, yeah, tell me more. Keep going. They were the coolest and most humble, down-to-earth people that I've ever spoken to. It was funny because Travis was talking about how he just got a hip replacement not too long ago, both. So he was excited to be like freaking Oprah running around.
Yeah.
He would jump off the stage and be like, new hips. And he'd go up and like hold the mic and be like, what's your name? Where are you from? And like really get the parents involved in the conversation. But my favorite was Stacy. So both of them were friends. And then Stacy decided to go to college. Travis moved to LA to start dancing because he booked Michael Jackson. Casual. It's fine. First job,
Yeah,
Michael.
that's
fine.
wild.
So after college, Stacy was in Florida and she booked a job at Disney World. She was performing in some performance. I don't remember if she said it was like a stage performance or what be it. So she's performing. Michael Jackson's people are there. They want to book her for Michael Jackson. So she's got to figure out what to do to move to LA. And then there she is back with her bestie, Travis. And they're both just working for Michael Jackson for so many years. And my favorite story was that they were at center staging, probably in the room that we were doing the podcast filming in, which I'm pretty sure that's what they said. They rented out all of center staging on the side that we were in because obviously each room was going to act as like, okay, this is Michael's room. Okay, this is the band's room. This is the tech's room, etc. And they found out that Prince was renting the studio space across the street at the other part of center staging. And so they were like, hey, like we should go, like talking to Michael, like, hey, we should go say hey. And he was like, oh, he's probably so busy. He's probably so busy. But like make sure that he gets tickets because he's invited to the tour. He thought he was too busy. I bet they both would have been so excited to like hang out
100%.
together.
That's crazy. The history alone
Of these
center
rooms?
staging is actually crazy. And I mean, we've been there before and we've seen famous people drive by and all of the things. But when you think of like, not even old Hollywood, that's not even old Hollywood,
No.
but just like the iconic legends of the music dance industry, they've all been in those rooms.
Yes.
And that's just a cool feeling. And I think a lot of our kids do feel that of when they walk in, they're like, it's almost an I made it moment because they're like, okay, like if they're rehearsing here and I'm rehearsing here.
Yeah, like this is cool.
Yeah.
On day one, I was walking to go and chat with you guys. I think we were on our little lunch break. The In-N-Out truck came,
Ooh.
obviously.
Gotta have the In-N-Out truck.
So we were waiting to get in line for that. And Johnny Erasme, he has danced for Justin Bieber, Chris Brown. He's creative directed tours, choreographed tours, all of that fun stuff. I haven't seen him in years. He walked up and he's like, what's going on over here? And I was like, hey. He was actually choreographing for Chris Brown. So they were just a few studios down. Next to that studio, Cat's Eye was rehearsing for their Lollapalooza set, which you guys might have just saw a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And then the last day that we were there in our former teen room, Mariah Carey was in there. you guys, these studios, they see a lot of different artists. So
Yeah.
it was cool. The kids probably had no clue Chris Brown was rehearsing like a few doors down.
Right.
They did know that Cat's Eye was rehearsing.
Yeah.
A couple of the kids. They were fired up. Did you see them? Did you see them? And I was like, they looked like they were rehearsing for like an audition or like a tour or something. Like I didn't know who they were. So I said, hey, have fun in rehearsal. I didn't know who they were. I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
That's so funny.
But they looked so cool. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it makes sense. Okay. So anyways, this building has a lot of history. Stacy and Travis. Ooh, I just want to sit down and chat with them forever because the things that they know, the people that they know, like, wow. And where they started is sick. Best friends, split off, back together, both working for the same artist for so many years.
That's the dream, really.
Like they've worked for Madonna, Paula Abdul, Michael Jackson, like the greats.
Everyone. Wow.
And then our final speakers, we had Krista and Autumn. And it's cool that we had Autumn in studio too because Hannah Douglas actually called her and hired her for a few of the shows on Beyonce's tour on her, not this past one, but the previous one. So she was like her girl. Like hired her in, brought her in, and was up until so late teaching Autumn some of the choreography and just being like, you got this. So it's cool seeing like the worlds collide in that moment. But it's awesome because Krista, obviously professional dancer all of her life before having kids and getting married and all of that and creating her Brea space, the space. And then obviously having Autumn grow up wanting to be a dancer and wanting to pursue that as well. So Krista talking about like her first job being a cheerleader in a gig like where she went to that audition and then booked the job right then and there and went straight to filming. And she had to go out and tell her dad, hey, you should call in sick for work today because I just booked this job. They're putting me in hair and makeup right now.
That's wild. That like doesn't happen.
No, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
But the fact that it used to be like that where she like found it in like a newspaper or something like that, or they called her and she had to like write down all the information as they're saying it because there wasn't like a recording at that time.
Crazy.
And then being nervous, like, should I let my daughter pursue this industry? But then being there for her to guide her in that way to get her where she is now, like the fact that she's on tour with J Balvin right now, just casually touring, went on tour with Beyonce, just walking right next to her on the stage.
Killing it.
She was talking about the struggle that it is when you get called into a tour that late, when the crew kind of all knows each other. The dancers, they rehearse for how many months together, so they all have that friendship already, and you're kind of coming in blind to that and learning what in-ears are. And hearing that music and that backtracking while you're on stage and also hearing the crowd going crazy. I think my favorite part of talking to Krista and Autumn was asking Krista what it felt like sitting in the audience for that first time seeing Autumn on stage. And she was like, oh, I have goosebumps right now just like thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing that family of professional dancers and artists in the industry, whether it's dance, sports, videography, all of that coming together. They have such a cool family.
They do.
I would love to sit down with their whole fam.
Yeah. They've built something really special over there. And I think too, like, they show so much of the training. I think that's really what it comes down to is like people are like, oh, the dancers at the space are so amazing. And it's like, well, if you watch all their videos, you can tell why. It's like
they're bringing in those people.
And just watching their like conditioning classes, I'm like, whew, wow.
When I used to teach dance, I would watch their videos and like reference how they taught their kids. I even subscribed to their like service where they would teach how to teach, really.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, it's so interesting to me. And I like ate that up. I have journals filled with notes from all of that because there's no one that does that. I just felt like it was so important.
Yeah.
No, they're awesome over there. So that wrapped up our HDE experience, except now we're heading over to the Avalon Hollywood, the iconic Avalon.
Iconic.
We hold our Industry Dance Awards there. Carnival used to be there every month. Once a month, Carnival would be there where you had iconic people there. We had our gala. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. The place was packed. packed. There was not room on that dance floor. The kids were tearing it up. They danced all week, and then they were just dancing more on the floor. It was awesome. We obviously had an awards ceremony where we gave out a ton of scholarships and announced our elite proteges for the 2025 Fall Convention Tour for CAR. So I'm going to talk about some of the dancers that got scholarships. So our first award was the Outstanding Dancers Award, and they won $1,000 cash prize each. They just stood out all week long, and the teachers were talking about them, and so they received $1,000 each. So we had, from Method Dance Studio, we had Willow Dolden, Inez Barastegue from Dance 360 Orlando. We had Emma Daly from Imprint Dance Company, Rain Fan from Perfect Point. We had Holland Bellendier and Kat Smith from the Paradigm Dance Complex. So congratulations on that, winning $1,000 cash prize.
It's amazing.
Wow, just for being there and dancing your hearts out. We had, our next scholarship was HDE full tuition scholarship. So to attend HDE without any sort of scholarships, whether you win a $500 scholarship, a $350, a $250, wherever you go, you have the possibility to win those scholarships. But it costs $2,499 to attend Hollywood Dance Experience. So these dancers got a full tuition scholarship to come back and join us next summer. So we're so excited. We had Landon Jorgensen from Dance Dynamics, and I just have to shout out Landon because the way that he danced onto the stage was everything. Like, I couldn't stop laughing, and I had to continue to announce more performers that won this scholarship, but he was eating it up, so I can't wait to see him next summer. We had Victoria Condi from Star Dance Company, Dirk Benke from Nashville Dance Company, Peyton Root, David Bangura, and Danica Para. So we're so excited to see those dancers, all 6 of them, come back next summer and join us. I'm really looking forward to seeing them because they were fantastic all week long. I kept hearing their names. Wow. Our final scholarship was our CAR Convention scholarship. So at our Hollywood Dance Experience, we had some dancers attending that won protégé at our CAR Convention during the 2024 Fall Tour. And this is where you can do that. So you can come to our CAR Convention and audition to become one of those dancers. So we had quite a few dancers that received those CAR Convention scholarships. We had Lynam Violet from Triple Threat Performing Arts, Nyla Fields from 777 Dance Studio, Anna Rose Marori from Divine Dance Arts, Kendall Haduch from Academy of Dance. We had Abby Hauer, Ella Chentacamo, and Indiana Foley. So we're so excited to see all of those dancers at our CAR Convention this fall. Comment down below if you got one of these scholarships and let us know which city you're attending, because I can't wait to see you there. And then obviously, we had our announcement of our 2025 Elite Proteges.
Whew, it was a tough one, you guys. I'm telling you.
Tough.
The talent that these kids have every year, it's just getting better and better. I don't know how they even decide who gets it.
Right. It blows my mind every summer because you see these kids in like the last cities, like November, December, and they're different kids. And then you see them on the road at some of our competitions during the season, and you're just like, who are you? And where did you come from? What classes are you taking now that have changed from November to now? Because I don't know, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Because you're different. These kids all stood out in such a beautiful, beautiful way. And I'm so excited that we get to tour with them all season long. I've obviously been working hand in hand with their parents, with their city selections right now. And I'm just loving them. I love them already. I can't wait to see them. So let's talk about them. Our 2025 Elite Proteges, we have Addison Carlisle, Adaya Aries, Alyssa Toscano, Amelia Quint, Bella Mosley, Aspen Roberts, Ava Ortega, Brooklyn Schimmelfenning, Caden Matthias, Chase Stallworth, Colby Letterman, Elise Kim, Amelia Casella, Isabella Baldino, Jack Schofield, Jane Gall, Jolie Burmis, Joshua Beasley, Carmen Thornton, Lane Danhauer, London Thibault, Lucas Vasquez, Matthew Casella. That's right. We have Amelia Casella and Matthew Casella, a brother-sister duo elite proteges.
That's cool.
That's so cool. We have Mila Boyd, Olivia Candio, Riley Lascano, and Tucker Riddle. We're so proud of these kids.
What a lineup.
What a lineup. And then the next day after our gala, we had a little promo photo video shoot where we went back to center staging in our little podcast room where we reimagined it. We had Wes Klein come and take the photos of our new elite proteges, and that was cool. Wes Klein shoots all of the dancers in the industry, all of the professional dancers. He's taking their headshots, their full body shots, all of those photos that set them up for their auditions and make them feel really good going into their auditions. He's that photographer. So we brought him in, and he shot our elites for 2025. And I just got the edits today. Woo! They look like superstars.
Yeah.
Just wait until you see them. So if you join us on our car convention tour this fall, you'll get to see this big banner with all of their headshots on them. Check them out because they look like rock stars.
Yeah, they look great.
They are rock stars.
100%.
And that's why they're our elite proteges. If you want to attend our Hollywood Dance Experience next summer, you better save the date today because it will sell out. It sold out this year pretty early, so I want to make sure that you guys get in. It is July 19th through the 22nd of 2026. So mark your calendars now because it's a week that you don't want to forget. It's so good.
It's so good.
And it just keeps getting better.
Every year. I'm so excited to see. And again, these kids, even just in a year's time, they're completely different dancers. So it's just really cool to see the growth. Again, like the family dynamic that they are able to create,
Yes.
touring together, assisting. We have an amazing faculty that a lot of those elite proteges are really going to get to, you know, learn from and get that mentorship. Shout out to Nancy O'Meara for an amazing job this Hollywood Dance Experience week. She really is like the fire under those faculty that really does take it seriously, makes sure that the dancers and the parents feel like we really are doing everything we possibly can for them. And yeah, it's just a really, really cool experience. I really recommend any dancer who's even slightly interested in kind of breaking into the commercial industry when it comes to music videos, television, whatever it is you want to do on that side of the industry as dancers. This is kind of your gateway into
Seeing if it's something that you might like.
exactly.
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to Nancy because she really takes the time to give each dancer their flowers and give each dancer critiques. And even if they're not a protege, she was really talking to those parents and talking to those kids and really giving them that feedback that you don't really see anywhere else. And there were a lot of kids here at HDE this past year. And the fact that she remembers every single one of them and then talks to their parents about them, I heard a lot of feedback from the parents of like, she talks to everyone and she gives everyone their critiques and their feedback and their flowers. And it's just, you really don't see
That's
that
hard to
anywhere
find.
else.
Hard to find.
So yeah, big kudos to Miss Nancy O'Meara. Speaking of our car convention, we have 3 new cities this fall, and those 3 cities are on weekends where we're holding, for the first time ever, 3 events per weekend.
Crazy.
We have Tulsa, Oklahoma on October 12th, Spokane, Washington on October 19th, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida on October 26th. So if you live nearby one of those cities and you've ever wanted to attend our car convention, sign up now. Our car convention does sell out very quickly.
Yep. And we've had a lot of interest in Washington. So that date, that Spokane date, I'm guaranteeing you is going to sell out quick.
Yes. And if you're planning to attend our kickoff weekend in Anaheim, California, that is September 21st. And we're just over half full for that event right now. Wow. So you want to make sure that if you're planning on attending that one, you get registered ASAP because I can't guarantee that we can sign you up at the door. We're so excited.
It's going to be an amazing season. I also just want to remind you guys on a couple DAC things.
Yes.
So all of our DAC Hope Studio donations for the 2025 season are due at the end of December. So if you're a studio who's maybe been thinking about it, hasn't really jumped on it yet, now's the time to do it. You still have until the end of the year to fundraise that $1,000. Also a reminder, we have our DAC golf tournament that we are doing for our first time ever out here in Irvine, California at Strawberry Farms Golf Course. We are so excited. Our goal is to have not just Hope Studios involved, but any dancers, teachers, parents who are wanting to get involved with that. That date is September 11th. So if you're interested, make sure you visit the I'm a Dancer Against Cancer.org website to get that registration going, or you can reach out to me directly. And last but certainly not least, save the date. Industry Dance Awards is taking place on Monday, October 20th, followed by the next night, our Gala of the Stars hosted at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and that is October 21st. So we are going to have amazing events coming up. Make sure you guys are following all things Dance Car, Rainbow, Ultra, DAC. We also are launching our refresh tour next season, so make sure that you guys are checking out those dates. We want to see all of our studios there. Yeah, it's just been an amazing season so far. The shows, the company that we get to really, really surround ourselves with is something that we're truly grateful for. So thank you guys. And don't forget about our little giveaway. If you want to win one of those Liz Imperio books, just comment down below a speaker or a guest that you would like to see at our 2026 Hollywood Dance Experience. Thanks so much for an amazing season. We'll see you on the road.